live. Excellent. Hey guys, welcome to Shaggy's Consulting's Coffee in the Morning with Shaggy. I'm running a few minutes behind because I spilled my coffee. And a lot of phone calls already first thing this morning. What's up, Michael Lynch? How are you doing? Um, lot of calls first thing this morning. We got a couple of new authorities going active. What's up, Dan? If you guys are tuning in new to the channel, we're going live on YouTube, live on Facebook every morning, 9 a.m., give or take a few minutes. No one's perfect, but it'll be 9 something. And we're going over the next couple of months is we're going over the story of opening a trucking company, doing logistics, why dispatching is important, why brokering is too, what the ways to own it, set it up, start it, and all the things that are involved. Like we're going to be like the myth busters in trucking and tell the secrets, the stories, the things that go on, and just kind of wake you guys up and help you out. And last week, Wednesday, we did about 40 minutes, and we started talking about what kind of trucking company will you be? Will you be a one truck authority you drive? Will you have company trucks where you don't drive? Will you have owner operators leased on to diversify your company trucks? Will you start an authority with owner operators only? Or will you be one of those guys out there who just takes on anybody, where you take on owner operator, people that own trucks and have drivers and they lease to people because they don't want to do stuff themselves? We talked about who's going to help you in this business. Wife, family, kids, or are you going to outsource it all? And then if your wife, kids are going to help you, what roles will they play? Like it's important. Will you drive the truck? Will you have drivers? Are they going to maintain them? Who's going to do safety and compliance? Who's going to be proactive and all this stuff? Who's going to be building the network while you're trying to survive running your trucks? Who's going to go after the customers? And then will you even know what to do with the customers? Do you plan on adding more than one truck in the first 2 years? If you do, how will you maintain the customers if you had a chance to get them? And do you even understand what to do with them when they lay it in right on the front of the table, right in front of you on the table? Do you know how to work with others to control the customer, or are you just going to throw it on the load board? And over this next few months, we're going to go over the dispatching services, why they're all out there starving right now, because the percentage thing and the way they've been doing it for the last 2 years isn't working anymore. And just the answer to get a brokerage when you haven't even figured out how to run a dispatching service the right way and maintain your clients and build a product and what you're leaving on the table. It's just not working. You have to build a product. You have to make changes. You have to do things that make your business better. It's just like, how do you stand alone with a brokerage when you're just one person or two people? How do you get the carriers, make the calls, make the customers, and actually have the carriers there? And then will you sell it one way, or will you sell it round trip to control the trucks to service the customers so you can do something with your business? You know what I mean? If you open it up an authority, and I just want to keep going over some topics, you know what I mean? Like the different parts and stages. When we're going through these stages, I'm going to be on for like 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And I'd love for you guys to ask as many questions as you can. Drop them in the comments. If you want to add to the story, tell them what you're doing now. Speak what you have going on. Because the biggest problem I see in this industry right now when you're building a story is not doing enough of the story before you go active and start doing the product, and building the wrong product and not having the team that put in the right positions to help you. It's hard, like, can you imagine right now how many people, if they would have had a real story, built a real product, and understood broker dispatching and trucking and the different versions and levels of it before they got to now, how much better they would be, how much further along they would have come? If you were the 50% that were building a product that you could duplicate every day and do it over and over again? Or are you the one out there freight chasing all over the place that's lost in a tunnel, a cave? There's no lights. You can't even trust people. And if you had the extra money to do something, to get somebody to help you, you're so counting your pennies and your chickens, your pennies and nickels, that you can't, you don't even know what to do. It's hard. You know, when you go from making hundreds of $1,000s down to making $100,000 or less, when you go to where you have 50, 60, 80, 150,000, $200,000 in the bank, and now you have 10. When you go and you know that you're like one breakdown away, you know that you're one driver quitting away. What's up, Facebook user? You know you're one driver away from having trouble, right? You know you're one driver from quitting again because you just got that guy. I mean, there's people out there right now driving around. There's people out there right now driving around that have no plan, and they're in the truck when they should have had a plan to be able to run a business and a story. There's people that are out there in their story right now that are doing dispatching services where they have no clue no more. They spend everything, they quit their job, they put everything on the line, their savings is almost gone for what they made, and they're still more confused than the day they started, and they have no team. So when you're in this story and you understand why you're opening this trucking business, or you understand why you're a broker but you don't understand the asset sides, or you understand that you're a dispatching service but dispatching 30 guys for a percentage, dispatching 30 guys for a percentage, hoping one that finally takes the load with no control. Grant permission. I don't know how you do it on this EvenMux. You got to like click the link or something like that, and then it approves it or something. Maybe click in. I don't know. It's really weird. I'm not used to it, but it does. This software I have right now lets me go to multiple places until I get a new one. I'm not high tech in technology, guys. I'm sorry, but um, but I want every day I get these calls from people that either did this or did that. And what it comes down to is we don't know our story. We're not being proactive, and we're not building a network while we're running our business, and we're not utilizing all these different leverages that we've left on the table. And it's sad because how do we get caught up doing one thing and then we get caught up in the motion? Do you ever think about it like this cycle, the cycle where there's more trucks than freight? And then once there's more trucks than freight, or more freight than trucks, it's always at three stages, right? There's more trucks than freight. Everybody buys, inflation goes up, the rates go up. You've seen it in 2014 with the hurricanes and the snowstorms. You've seen it in 2010, the wars, the fuel prices. You've seen it 2008. You see it all these times where the volume goes up, of volume of freight, so the rates go up. People jump in, things happen, things change, and then the next section is where the freight comes down. Now there's more trucks, the freight comes down. The big brokers leverage the market because the little brokers don't have no plan, no story. The little trucking companies only did what they could handle, but didn't build relationships with others to handle the volume or open a brokerage. And then what happens is we get to the third stage where even those guys can't provide service because one half the group wants their money that they got and the money that they're losing, the money that everybody's leaving on the table, the money that they don't have. It's like people get into business and they have a turnip, right? You get one turnip, whether you drive it or there's a driver in it or you have an owner operator. Well, that turnip can only squeeze so much juice out of it. It's just one turnip. So you either got to figure out how to get more turnips. Sometimes we add more turnips, but then we have to try to get money out of the other turnip to make the other turnips work, but they can't squeeze those guys and get no juices out of them. I've never seen it happen. So then you got to figure out how to diversify and make multiple streams of money to keep when other parts of your business aren't running. But we don't have a story or a plan that we need to do that. See, this is the problem that we're doing. So now we have to start finishing and keep adding to the story. So in my story that I'm doing right now because we're going to keep talking about trucking for the next 30 minutes of why you opened a trucking company, why your wife's not helping you, why you're paying a dispatching service amount of money that you can't even afford to pay them with your overpriced equipment, or maybe your truck's paid off but you're still not getting the money back. Dude, we could break down this story so many times because, like, here's another part of the story. Why would somebody go out and buy a truck, pay cash, and then build a business plan where they don't cover getting the cash for their truck back? They just figured out that they don't have a truck payment. They don't have a truck payment, right? What, they can do it for less? I mean, I don't understand because you're not getting your 500 a week back. Then another thing in the story is why are people not accounting for fixed cost and escrow that doesn't involve their paycheck? Why don't we have a number where we put fuel, where we have our drivers, where we have our pay, we have our owner operators, lease pay, our fuel, our insurance, truck, trailer, fixed cost. There's Kenneth. What's up, Kenneth? He's in the house now. He's hooked up to EvoMux. All right. What's up, Stephen Young in the house? Man, that guy is working hard doing the networking. So let's keep talking about the story. Like, we could talk about Kenneth's story. He's working his plan with his 3 trucks. He's at least somewhere. He's slowly building up his way out because he wants to go that route. So, what's up, DDD? Nice to see you in the house. Guys, if you're in the house, man, please like the page. Go to my YouTube channel and please subscribe, Shaggy's Consulting, and then let's keep the movement going. Because it's hard. When we're building a story, sometimes there's bad times in your story where you go into the cave mode. And the cave mode is where everything gets dark. And we don't know what the hell's going on. Like, everything sucks. Like, you look over here, these guys suck, this guy sucks, that guy sucks, the sucks, the fucking news sucks, people suck. And then, you know what I mean? And it's just a horrible process. So let's stay on track. And what's up, Facebook user? If you guys accept EvoMux, it'll show your name on there. All right. So the first day on our story is we talked about what kind of trucking company will you be running? Why are you making this investment? Why are you buying trucks? Why are you the one truck authority? Why are you going to are you going to start the trucking company with owner operators using your credit and your money to be able to provide them a place to go because you understand the dispatching first? And then are you going to get customers? If you're opening a trucking company in the first year, are you going to add owner operators? Are you going to add company drivers? Are you going to go after customers? Are you just planning on using a brokerage? All these things are so important. And then when you're doing this, once you start figuring out the trucking company you're going to run, the type of equipment you're going to have, what type of trailers will you use for your company? Are you going to go after dry van? Are you going to go after flatbed? Are you going to do step deck, oversized RGA, low boy, double drops? You're going to be an in-dump hauler, dump truck hauler? You're going to do what is your niche? What is the type of freight that your trailer you're going to use? And then do you understand the risk, the liability, the securement, the attachments, the taking the pictures, the prevention of claims, the downtime? Do you understand all that? That's very important in your story to pay attention to these topics because I don't see none of you guys are doing it, just so you know. And then the second part is once you figure out your trailers and you're in this process, there's 2 things you need to think about. Number 1 is where are you going to get a trailer from? Because one of the problems I see is everybody's opening their authority. First person sends me $5 million cash, owns my company, offer good all day. All right. So now you're opening your authority, and this is another problem I see in the story of opening authority. Have you guys, before you even open your authority and before you ever got freight, once you figured out your style of your trucking company, whether you're doing company trucks, owner operators, drivers, where you're going to get the drivers, how you're going to cover the trucks when the drivers are broke down or they quit, where's that money going to come from? How long can you last? So then once you got the power unit figured out, that where you're buying the truck from, Then you got your plan of what type of trucking company you're going to run, who's going to be helping you, and then who's going to do the different sections: compliance, safety, hire, payroll, getting customers, networking, sitting on the load board with your fingers stuck up your nose doing packets and networking all day long while you're trying to build a product, right? Then, so the second part, are you going to let somebody else do it for you? So the second part to this is that I see the problem is while you're in that 21 days of opening your authority, we're going to get to after the authority here soon, but we're opening that authority. You're in this 21 days. First thing you have to understand is there's no freaking time clock that's going to shut down your authority. You file the MC number, you pick the company name, which we'll go through later, you do the LLC, you file the MC number, and then you go into a 21 day. Stop listening to people that are telling you that this is like you only have 90 days and then or it's going to fail, or this insurance company's going to be a 30-day quote, or you got to hurry right now. You don't have to hurry shit. You go through the whole next year and don't even file your insurance or do nothing else but the MC number. It's still yours. All you do is put the down payment on the insurance with an owner operator, or you driving it, a truck, or your company truck, or the lease purchase truck, whichever avenue you're going to go. You file the insurance, and after 21 days, guys, 3 days later to 5, your authority goes active. Just so you know, I wanted to get that out there in the story. Remember that. Stop listening to all these people that have their own agenda that are trying to rush you into something you're not ready for yet. You just filed your authority. Just because you paid the $300 and the $45 and you got $400 invested or whatever you paid somebody to do it, you're not in a hurry. There's no rush. Stay where you're employed. Stay at your job unless it's that horrible. Build your company while you're employed, then start working on the process. And then when you have the process, you have the freight, and you understand and you have the relationships, then pay the insurance and activate your authority and go to work. In that next week, after you file your authority and you're going active, then you could go active, you could start filling out your broker packets, you could do all this stuff while you're getting your IFTA from the network that you built. We haven't even talked about that yet. I'm just telling you some of the stuff that I see that's so crazy about people that are getting into business and they rush too fast because they get caught up, because you're mad. The guy pissed you off. The company you're leased to was sucking but they're still giving you, don't quit. Unless you're like really behind, they owe you lots of money and you're not getting paid anyways, then quit. You know what I mean? Maybe go work for another company for just a few months. Then don't tell them about it and to generate money until you're ready to. You have to take the stickers off one truck, put them on another truck, or off one plant to another plant, and be able to instantly generate money. Number two, in the first 90 days, it's not true that no one will use you. Only those sorry suckers on the load board, like the big ones, will not use you. And another thing, when you always sell yourself one way instead of two ways, no one's going to use you anyways because you have no investment to their company. Remember that. No investment to their company. Why would a broker do anything for you when you're only selling them one way? Just asking. Like, why would I do anything extra for you when you have no relationship, no conversation, and no investment? So let's keep going. So we're on the trucks. So we got the people figured out. We understand our authority. We're doing dry van, flatbed, refrigerated, hot shot, box trucks. So the next thing is we're talking about, so if this doesn't work, what will we do with our authority? Do we even freaking know? Like, if just because you started with that one truck, does that mean you can't do other things with that same authority? Why do we act like we can't? Why do we feel like there's some uneducated barrier that we are bound to stay that one way? Why can't we be a visionary? I'm asking you guys in the chat, why do we keep ourselves so locked out? Why do we not see what's really going on? Why do we get so caught up into what we think we know, we don't allow ourselves to see what we should know? I don't see it in YouTube University. So now you figured out your trailers. Before you even activate your authority, have you called 100 dealerships or even 10 to 20, 30 dealerships and tried to purchase a trailer? Have you called your bank? Have you called leasing places and rental places to find out not only can you get a trailer, but what the terms are and what you need to build before you start? And where you're going to get this equipment from? Or were you planning on just going out there and letting some dispatcher or some person, because you didn't have a business plan and you're not building your story, and did you just go out and plan on doing power only? What are you going to do? Ritchie Brothers auctions? Are you going to go to you're going to go to Broadhead, Staunton, Monon, Lafayette, Wabash, Terre Haute, Dallas, Eagle Pass, Alita, Savannah, Jacksonville, San Diego, Salt Lake City, Utah, New Jersey, Glade Springs, Virginia, Atkins, North Carolina, and all these places, and then plus all the dealerships? You're going to start hauling carnival equipment? Are you going to do concerts? Are you going to do JB Hunt, Menard, Power Only, Pam, Hart? What are you going to do to make the void for not having a trailer? Because if it's not something where it's preloaded and you can grab and go like JB Hunt, Menards, Hart, Schneider, whatever, then you're going to be doing this one shit where you have to go and find a trailer. Then and it's only going to pay you a couple $100. Well, you're okay because you get to use it. Then you got to match up 2 to 3 to 5 loads that week that make your 7-day plan. And then every 7 days you have to return that trailer, but you're not going to because it's going to be hard to find another one. So you're going to mess up yourself trying to keep it a couple extra days and then they're going to take your $200 because it always takes 1 day to deliver the trailer, pick up the load, pick up the trailer, so deliver the load, deliver the trailer, pick up the trailer, pick up the load. You only have 14 hours, and you got to unload, deliver, find the guy signed for the trailer, get it approved, check it out, spec it, turn it in, and find another one. But then they didn't forget because you're power only and all over the place, so now you got to go and find, then you got to understand trailer interchange and non-own and all that stuff on top of that. So what part of this story did you figure out about equipment? Or are we just going to wing it because somebody told you it was great? This factoring company or a dispatching service or somebody has an agenda that does not precede not do your agenda. Kenny Young says, based on experience. So like in this story, how many people do you think based on individual experience don't plan far enough ahead on some of the stuff that I've already talked about? Just this first process. Why are we starting the authority the way we did? Are we going to be a giver or a taker in our own business? Because you can own a business and always be taking and never get ahead and call yourself a business runner. Or you can be a taker and a giver, or you can be just a giver. What kind of business plan? Are you going to use other people's money to make money and run a business on multiple different levels? Or are you going to be the guy out there because you like driving or you think it's a great idea to fill in for your company drivers all the time and drive the truck yourself? Because you're doing good. I wouldn't want guys to do anything I wouldn't do. I get it. I hear that story all the time. And other guys sit there and they run 10 to 25 owner operators and they never leave their office and they make money and the guys respect them the same way. You keep it up, you good Samaritan out there being a taker instead of a giver in your business plan. All respect to you. So, how many people really went out and figured out where they're going to buy trailers from? And if they can afford them? It's crazy, right? Because you start thinking about the story of what you're doing. And how hard is it to build a story for your business plan and actually understand it the right way whenever I just know it's hard. I was the same way. When we started, we didn't have no help. I didn't think there's any help out there, man. We went from 1 truck to 25 trucks, man. I bought 14 trucks and 22 trailers in my first 15 months in 2008. It was like a lightning bolt, man. 1 minute I'm here, the next minute I'm there, and then the next thing you know, I'm conditional. My safety score's messed up, and I figured out I didn't have no plan. It was amazing. Like literally, my trucks are in those filing cabinets right over there. I keep them frozen time from 2017 when I shut down my trucking company. We had like 20 some odd trucks. You know what I mean? I get it. Everybody's like, why'd you shut it down? Because my wife changed the story. So we're going all this stuff that we're talking about right now is before you go active. We haven't even went active yet. We haven't even done our LLC. We haven't even filed our MC number yet. We're just building up the plan over these next couple weeks. So the next part to the story is, where will you start this plan? Are you going to do it in Miami, Florida because you live there? Does it sound like a great idea? Just because you live there, you have to start your trucking company there, right? Just because that's where you have to drive home and stuff. You can't start it in the Midwest and live in Miami. You can't start it in Georgia and live in Miami. You can't start anywhere. So, like, where are you going to start it? Hold on a second. Hold on a second, guys. If you guys have any questions or comments, please pop them in. I hope I'm not over talking to anybody or talking too much. I do that a lot because I get so much stuff in my Pandora's box. I just want to keep teaching. I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to share a screen. Oops. All right, it's cool. Now we got this handy dandy map right here. You know, it's crazy. So in this story, where are you going to start your trucking company, right? Where are you guys going to start it at? Are you gonna start it in the Northeast? Are you gonna start it in the Northeast? Over here? You're going to start it in this section over here? In the boroughs? Or are you going to start it over here in the Northeast up in the corner up in the top? You're going to start it right here in this section right here? Are you going to start in this section right here and not run these three over here? Are you going to start it in the Midwest right here and run this area right there? Are you going to run these sections out here? Are you going to run this section down here? Are you going to run into this area right here? Are you going to run across this bottom right here and knock out Florida right there? I mean, what is your plan? Are you guys going to start out? A map's dying. Hold on. Are you guys going to start out? Let's see. Are you guys going to start out freight chasing? Is this going to be the story where you get this guy, that says, "Hey, man, we can help you out, man. We're going to get you running. You're going to start right here, and the market's really crazy, so." I can't erase nothing. Oh, come on. Let me erase my map. All right, but anyways, are you going? I can't get my map to erase. It's still on me. So are you guys going to bounce all over this place like this? Or you guys start out with this guy, you start in Florida and you run out here like this all over the place and you zigzag everywhere like that, and then you go home and then you keep chasing and you get on the low boards and call everybody crying and stuff like that? Or are you guys going to go out? If I can delete my map here. Hold on. Let me try it. All right, let's go over here and delete the red too. I want this delete. Okay, well, we'll just take it down. All right, so are you guys going to go out and build a local, dedicated, or regional route, like a bow tie? Let me see if I can get my map back up again. I want to show you some more stuff. I hope you're learning. Let's see. Are you going to start out? And are you going to pick your city right here in the middle? Let's bring this back up. All right, cool. Let's try it again. I'm new to this technology, so bear with me. All right. So, are you guys going to go into the Northeast? And are you going to, like, let's say we put a circle dot here. Let's say we put a dot in Cleveland. Let's say we go down here to West Virginia, Virginia Beach, and right there in Chambersburg, PA. And are you guys? And let's say we leave off the New Hampshire, Massachusetts, 5 boroughs, right? Let's say we So let's say we're in the Northeast. This is where we're starting our authority, right? So we have a choice in our authority. Once we figure out our equipment, the style, what rate, and all that stuff, we still have to figure out how much our understanding and our cost is. We haven't got that far yet, but we will, because that's one of the biggest mistakes people will do is they don't understand their cost of operations down to the minimum to make a paycheck, and then everything else is left to the business, not you or what other people are leaving on the table. So if you were to run the Northeast, could you run, if you lived in Chambersburg, PA, could you draw a 150-mile radius around Chambersburg, PA, and start letting all the brokers for the next 60 to 80 days, let them know ahead of time before you're even acting that your truck's going to be in that area? And then can you start telling customers door to door in person or on the phone or by email that you're located there too from before you start? Like, is there some regulation that says you can't? And then number two, can you pick a city? Like maybe you go from Wilkesboro to Pittsburgh, right? Maybe you go from Wilkesboro to Pittsburgh and you go from Pittsburgh back. Maybe you go from Wilkesboro to Cleveland. Maybe you go from Wilkesboro, Cleveland to Virginia Beach and then Buffalo, New York, down here to West Virginia. And then maybe you crisscross through there. If you start building these specific cities and you run these same cities all the time, a lot of these cities have more freight than what the rural area does. So why don't we concentrate to certain spots? Just like if I was in Minnesota, Kansas City, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Charlotte, and then I did Indianapolis to St. Louis. So if I drew a 150-mile radius around Indianapolis, and then I went from Indianapolis to St. Louis and Indianapolis back, and then I went from Indianapolis to Charlotte, Charlotte to Cleveland, Cleveland to Indy, all those runs are less than 500 miles a day, 300 to 500 miles a day. Can I do those in the same day? And why are we never in the same place twice? So the understanding of how you're going to run your different areas to dictate the different markets, isn't that important before you start? Like how you're going to run in this area, because Dallas sucks and so does this area down here in Laredo, even though we all chase there for some reason because we think it's fun. Are we going to build a product in these areas and work it, or are we just going to run all over the place? Because we got to hire guys to our plan that fit where we're running. We can't hire guys that don't live where we live. It's just like when you're doing a dispatching service. How do you build a product running people from all different regions everywhere all the time and not having nothing to actually sell them? Like if I was to sell somebody, I would sell home on weekends, never run east of Ohio, west of Kansas City, and majority of the time we have a local and dedicated between Indy and St. Louis and Indy, where we do 200 to 300 mile roads and sometimes an extra 100-mile load every day, and our guys are home on weekends and through the week, and we're constantly building that product. That's something I could sell as a dispatcher or as a carrier recruiting. I could sell that we always run between Indy, Charlotte, Cleveland, and Indy, and sometimes we branch the guys over to Kansas City, which is 500 miles away, then up to Cleveland, but up to Minnesota. But more than likely, you'll either be in Cleveland, Charlotte, Minnesota, or Kansas City on Friday, so I can load you home for the weekend. And I'm trying to build more consistent lanes of customers because we're always in the same place twice. Why don't we start doing that before we start? And everybody's like, well, how do we do that out west? Same fucking way. You pick 4 or 5 cities, you post it out 30 to 60 days, you find all the people with that product you want, you start building. This has nothing to do with the load boards or freight chasing or the spot market or freight wave sonar, nothing. This concentrates on what you need for your product, for your trucking company. And then when you build that product, what are you going to do with it next? How are you going to get the trailers, the equipment? How are you going to get the equipment to provide to the owner-operators? How are you going to diversify when your truck breaks down? Why is your family not helping you in this business? Why is your family not helping with you in the business, but you're paying other people that have no clue what your business really like are running it for you because they didn't sell you no product? Are you scratching your head wondering why your dispatcher doesn't have a product and all you're doing is always going somewhere you don't know where you're going next? Why you're telling them what you want to, but they're offering it to you, but you could do that with brokers and customers. Does any of this make sense? So we'll start talking next week. Monday. We'll start talking about the next levels of doing this. We're going to start talking about understanding cost. Then we're going to of operations of different types of equipment. Then we're going to come back to this lane building, and we're going to talk about building a network, posting with direction, searching with direction, and moving forward in your business plan, because it's important. We get caught up. We get reliant on others. But the only thing we can do is do the work ourselves. We are the work. If we're not doing it the right way, we're always going in circles, right? Lost, confused, don't know what's going on. How is your 7-day plan? How is your paycheck? And do you have this paycheck signed up, sealed, and delivered before you start your business? Is it guaranteed? Because the dispatching service has nothing guaranteed, because they don't pay your bills. You do. Brokers don't pay your bills. They supply you with loads that fit your product, and your product should be dictated by the loads that you need. And you have to find those brokers that have those loads. Like, you have to network. It's not going to fall out of the sky. You're not going to find it by posting for today and tomorrow with no information. A customer can't find you, and a broker can't find you to give you specific stuff that you want if you don't tell them, and you don't tell them with volume. You ever make sense? So how are we going to cover our 7-day plan, our paycheck, our equipment, diversify our company, and build it to something more than one truck without a story or a plan? Because obviously you guys have figured out now it's not get rich quick, and it's not freaking easy. All right, so Dan the Man says I'm not allowed to go over 35 minutes. I don't want to bore you. I appreciate everybody on here that's watching. I appreciate the comments over to the side. And I need to get better at interacting and talking to you and back. I get it. I just try to do as much as I can in a wee little bit of time, and I don't want it to go over for a long period of time. But I want you to understand that there's two worlds. There's freight chasing a load board, the spot market. Then there's using ecarriercheck.com above my head and building real relationships, real network, and having real partners like 123 Load Board that's working really hard to bring in new brokers and freight, and they have software that they're doing. eCarrier Check, Shaggy Solutions, Compliance and Safety, where we start up new authorities and compliance, DOT, insurance, equipment financing. And, take time and set up a one-on-one. Guys, all you got to do is go to my website, shaggyconsulting.com, call 812-870-2039, and set up some time. What is $100 to $200 for a couple hours for you to rebuild your story and start seeing some light at the end of the tunnel? You need it. When you're going through YouTube world or these Facebook groups, when you see guys talking about transparency, this, that, fighting this, what's that got to do with your product? What is the government going to do to you? Have they ever saved you before? Thanks for tuning in to Shaggy's Consulting and Training, man. We really love you guys over here at our company. We have a whole team of people that's working really, really hard. And I know that everything's dark, everything's scary. The world doesn't look good right now. But we're in trucking. We committed to a story. We committed to something. Get back to your business. Get back to your plan. Stop making excuses and blaming others. And figure out how to do the work with your dispatching service, your trucking company, your brokerage, your learn the sales, do the calls better, build a network, build spreadsheets, start filling them in, and making things change on a daily basis. Stop being everywhere. Peace out, guys. Have a really great day. I thank you for tuning in. Please like my YouTube, share the page, share the video, like. If you like the comments, leave comments. If you like the content we're putting in, leave reviews. Let us know you like what we're doing. You know what I mean? Because if you don't want me to, if you don't want this information and you don't want this stuff out there, hey, I got other things to go do too. You know what I mean? Let us know what you think. Tell people about us. Keep spreading the word. It's crazy too. And I know it's happening because I had Tavion call me this morning to check on his thing. And he's like, dude, I'm calling carriers. And I talked to this one guy. He said he knew you. And then this other person knew you. And it's crazy when you have so many people out there that you can't really go anywhere without people knowing who you are, because you either helped them or they heard about you or vice versa. It's pretty exciting. I just wish I would have knew my story better years ago and what I could do myself before now. But you all learn in crazy ways. Talk to you later. Peace out. Goodbye.